You have to stop obsessing over your P&L. This way of thinking is making you trade with too much emotion and it's hurting your trading. That's why I created what's called the Bobblehead Concept, and it's what made me one of the best traders in the world. I'm Lance Breitstein, one of Wall Street's top traders with over $100 million in verified profits and mentor to 7- and 8-figure traders. The Bobblehead Concept is a fun mental visualization technique that helps you focus on what matters and forget about what doesn't. So what does this concept really mean? If you're like most traders, you have an obsession about your daily P&L. Were you green today? Were you red? What did everyone else in your pod put up today? The list can be endless about what traders choose to obsess over. Regardless of what it isn't healthy. It's demotivating. If you have a bad day, you think you did something wrong. By default, you think you failed or aren't a successful trader. Well, that's not necessarily true, especially in a game as probabilistic as trading. So often, your actual performance has nothing to do with whether you were red or green on the day, and more simply with the way the market happened to unfold. Obsessing about P&L doesn't normalize for the opportunity set. Is $200 on the day considered good? Well, I don't know. If it was a very difficult, tricky day filled with traps and everybody else lost money, maybe you traded very well. But if you put up $200 on one of the biggest days of the year and everybody else put up 10 grand, then maybe you didn't perform so well. At the end of the day, P&L doesn't tell the whole story. Like I mentioned before, trading is so probabilistic that negative days are inevitable. It's something we must all learn to accept as part of this job. I get asked all the time, but Lance, how do you deal with negative streaks? How do you get through tough periods? Negative days and even negative streaks are just a core fundamental part of this job. The paradox of focusing on P&L is the more you grow as a trader, inevitably, the larger your negative days become. If you ask any top trader at any firm in the country who has the biggest negative days, it's probably them. That doesn't mean they're doing anything wrong. Realistically, it doesn't mean anything, right? It's just not the appropriate indicator. In an ideal world, what we really want is to focus on our expected value and to obsess with this and this alone. The way I do that is the Bobblehead Concept. If you take a chart where on one axis it's your daily expected value and on the other axis it's time, as you progress, all you want to do is steadily increase your little bobblehead and imagine your head shifting higher. Maybe if you're a trainee, your expected value each day might be negative $50. But after a couple of months, you reach that break-even point where on the average day, you're now a positive trader. Maybe you're approaching being consistently positive, and from here, you try to grow and improve not just by the number of days you're green, but also the size of them. Essentially, it boils down to figuring out how you can make your time in front of that computer worth more and more with each day that goes on. Every time I talk about this concept, I try to shift the mentality from P&L to what is your expected value each day. What this does is it makes you agnostic to the actual daily performance or the opportunity set. It doesn't matter if the market was easy, if the day was considered good or bad. You want to be able to win the day based on your standards and the bar you set, so you're able to win every day regardless of what it looks like. If you have a P&L obsession, your negative day might snowball into frustration that leads to leaving early for the day.
Today I quit my job.
Maybe it makes you skip your daily write-ups, report card, or any other important practice. Our P&L that day stated we failed, so that is how we feel. Now, shift that perspective and obsession into expected value of what you could be doing better. Instead of being angry over a negative day, you ask yourself, how can I improve? How could I have made more or lost less? What could have been done differently? The questions you can reflect on are endless here. Mindset coach Ben Crow, who is the coach behind one of the best female tennis players in the world, says it best. There's two expectations that are kind of killing performance all over the world. In fact, they're probably killing the world. One is expectation of outcome, which you can't control, and the other one is the expectation of others, which you also can't control. Focusing on something you can't control, but wanting to control it, is the definition of anxiety or stress or pressure or worry. The process is about accepting the things you can't control and letting them go and getting them out of your psychology and focusing your attention back on the only thing you can control, which is how hard you train and your intention and also the words that represent the best version of you.
She can accept the things she can't control and have confidence in herself. That's the only expectations she can put on herself. Her goals and her dreams, and she's spoken publicly about her goals and her dreams, and she's put that out in the universe. and she's going after them as hard as she can, right? And that's just called living.
What Ben's talking about there is you can't allow these external measures or the external expectations to affect your performance. All you can focus on is what you can control each day. Now, here's one of the best parts about this mindset shift. What people don't realize is on those losing days, especially those really, really bad days, whatever that might mean for you, it can make it feel like a terrible day. But if you truly internalize this mindset, what you eventually realize is this is a great thing for you and your trading. This is an opportunity because the market just revealed a flaw in your system and a flaw in your trading that you can now fix. When you're able to learn and take lessons and fix those issues, these opportunities actually provide the best times for you to increase the expected value of your bobblehead. Let's say there's a market that punishes overtrading. Due to these losses, you learn how to counteract that with how to be more disciplined and more selective. Those losses are actually increasing your long-term P&L. It's making you more adaptable across markets. It's making you a more resilient and a more mentally robust trader. It's allowing you to keep the big picture in mind, right? We don't want to focus on our P&L over the next day, the next 2 days, or even the next 5 days. We want to focus on the next 5 years or even the next 10. What this allows you to do is progress every single day and raise your expected value with the big picture in mind. As counterintuitive as it seems, your lifetime P&L is really only 2 variables. 1, what's your average daily expected value? And 2, the number of days traded. If you truly focus on just increasing your bobblehead each day, you're maximizing the expected value of your time in that seat, but in a much more sustainable manner. You're removing your frustrations, you're minimizing your stress, and you're focusing on the journey and process rather than having to live with the ups and downs that are dictated by a P&L swing. So what does this mean in practical application? It means that in the daily life of running an office, I would always say, hey guys, let's stop comparing P&L and let's go back to moving our bobblehead higher. So much time after the market close is spent asking, oh, what P&L did you put up? Or what did you make in XYZ? You know my answer right now. It's not about that P&L, right? It's really about what can I learn from what I did today? Or what can I learn about these opportunities? The more time we can move away from asking or caring about P&L and more about what we can learn, the more effective we will become. It can always be so defeating and so depressing when you take some big rip. But what if instead we just said, this is an opportunity that's going to make me better in the long run? Why? Because I don't care about the here and now. I care about where I'm going to be in 5 years or 10 years from now. Following this methodology will allow me to be the best version of myself. Think about how much this can impact your psychological stress. Recently, I helped a trader at S&B who had experienced his first major drawdown. In a monthly meeting, he said something that was so important to me. He recognized how this process was helping him to become a more robust, well-diversified trader. Regardless of whether it takes him a day, a week, or a month, going through this is something that's giving him skill sets to succeed for the rest of his life. When you focus solely on the process and your expected value, it allows you to remove limiting beliefs to see what your true potential can be. I still remember when Mike Bellafiore of S&B Capital told me, you know, Lance, you have a lot of talent. And sometimes if you're comparing P&L solely to those around you, you're never allowing yourself to separate from the pack and really reach the maximum of your potential. That proved to be true because all I needed to do was just focus on getting better every single day, and that's exactly what I did. For some final closing thoughts, I'll finish with one of my favorite quotes from Mariko Yugita, a female marathoner who became the world record-setting woman after age 50. She ended up doing family, kids, and other obligations during her younger days prior to this, and a quote that stuck with me was, "It's a waste of time to think about days gone by. What's important is the here, now, and the future. How can you improve yourself in the days to come?" That quote encapsulates everything about the bobblehead concept. The more you can remove yourself from obsessing over your P&L, the more you can focus on what matters, getting better each and every single day and viewing adversity as an opportunity to improve, not just for now and not just relevant to trading, but for a lifetime of growth and improving yourself each day.